First contact and ridicule. The crystalline spires of the Galactic Assembly headquarters pierced the violet sky of Centauri Prime, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 suns in dazzling patterns. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Earth ship Prometheus, her dark eyes fixed on the massive structure. 20 years of space exploration had prepared humanity for many things, but nothing quite like this. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant Marcus Wong reported from his communication station. "The Assembly representatives are suggesting we hurry up. Apparently, we're keeping the real spacefaring species waiting." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Tell them we're following their designated approach vectors exactly as specified. If their time is so precious, they shouldn't have insisted on such conservative protocols." The truth was, the Prometheus could have reached the assembly station in seconds if they'd wanted to. Instead, they were crawling along at what the aliens considered standard speed for a primitive species, making their first official contact with the Galactic Assembly. Dr. James Rivera, the ship's chief scientist, joined her at the viewport. His weathered face carried the same carefully neutral expression she'd been practicing. "The sensor readings from the station are fascinating," he murmured. "They're using at least 15 different types of conventional fold space technology, very advanced by their standards, but nothing we haven't already moved beyond." Sarah finished quietly. "Keep that to yourself for now, James. Remember the mission." The mission. Sometimes Sarah still couldn't believe the complexity of the game they were playing. When humanity had first detected the Assembly surveillance probes at the edge of their solar system, they'd made a crucial decision. Instead of revealing their true technological capabilities, Earth's leaders had chosen to present themselves as a young, relatively primitive spacefaring race. The Prometheus itself was a masterpiece of deception. Its hull appeared to be made of standard metallic alloys, its engines seemingly powered by basic fusion drives. The reality, hidden beneath layers of quantum camouflage, was something that would send shockwaves through the galaxy when the time was right. "Approaching final docking position," announced navigator Yuki Tanaka, her fingers dancing over holographic controls that had been deliberately designed to look centuries behind their actual technology. "They're extending their docking tube. Interesting design. Uses standard gravitational alignment." "How primitive of them," James whispered, earning a sharp look from Sarah that couldn't quite hide her amusement. The ship settled into position with deliberate awkwardness, playing the part of a vessel whose inertial controls were still in their early stages of development. Through the viewport, Sarah could see dozens of other ships docked at the station, some organic-looking, others geometric, a few that seemed to be made of pure energy. All of them, she knew, were bound by the same fundamental assumptions about how space, time, and reality worked. Humanity had taken a different path. "Assembly Protocol Officer is requesting our presence," Marcus reported. "They're sending a guide to help us navigate their advanced facility." Sarah straightened her uniform, deliberately designed to look like something from an early space program. "Remember, everyone, we're humble representatives of a young species, eager to learn from our galactic neighbors. Dr. Rivera, try to look suitably impressed by their technology. Lieutenant Wong, please continue to struggle slightly with their advanced communication protocols. And Yuki, maybe bang your elbow on something alien-looking. Sell it." Her crew nodded, hiding smiles. They'd rehearsed this first contact scenario hundreds of times. The fate of Earth's long-term strategy hung on their performance today. The airlock cycled, and a tall silvery being glided through, its form shifting like mercury. "Greetings, humans," it transmitted directly into their minds. "I am Guide of New Species Zenith. You will find our facility challenging to comprehend with your current level of development. Please try not to touch anything you don't understand, which will be most things." "We are honored," Sarah replied with carefully practiced awe. "The Earth United Government sends its humble greetings to the Galactic Assembly." As they followed the guide into the station, Sarah could feel the dismissive thoughts of various alien species washing over her. The Mercury-like being was broadcasting their arrival on some kind of public network, and the reactions ranged from amusement to outright derision. Look at their ship's drive signature, barely able to manage stable fold space translation. Another primitive organic species. They'll be extinct or uplifted within a millennium. Did you scan their neural patterns, still using electrochemical processors in their heads? Sarah kept her face carefully neutral, but inside, she was smiling. Let them underestimate humanity. Let them dismiss Earth as just another primitive world fumbling its way into the galaxy. They had no idea that deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility called the Hyperspace Dynamics Laboratory, humanity had already transcended everything these species thought they knew about the nature of reality itself. The guide led them toward the assembly's grand chamber, its thoughts becoming increasingly condescending as it explained basic concepts of interstellar civilization that humanity had moved beyond decades ago. Sarah caught James biting his lip to keep from laughing when the being tried to explain dimensional theory to them, using what it considered simple analogies. You see, it projected, space is like a fabric with many layers. Fascinating, James managed, his voice strangled. So you're saying there are multiple dimensions? Sarah shot him a warning look, but she understood his amusement. It was like having someone explain addition to a quantum mathematician. Still, they had to maintain the charade. Earth's survival might depend on it. As they approached the assembly chamber, Sarah felt the weight of the real secret she carried. The Prometheus wasn't just here to make first contact. They were here to gather intelligence, to understand the political landscape of a galaxy that had no idea what was coming. Because humanity hadn't just discovered new dimensions, they'd found something far more fundamental. They'd learned how to rewrite the rules of reality itself. And soon, very soon, the galaxy would understand why it was a mistake to underestimate the creatures from Earth. The quantum breakthrough. 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in a chamber that defied conventional physics. The Hyperspace Dynamics Laboratory hummed with an energy that made reality itself whisper around her. Through the reinforced quantum glass viewport, she watched as the latest test unfolded in the massive spherical chamber beyond. Quantum fold integrity at 100%, announced Dr. Kai Chen, his fingers moving across holographic controls that would make the most advanced alien species question their understanding of user interfaces. Reality matrix is stable. We're ready for the next phase, Elena. In the center of the test chamber, a perfect sphere of what appeared to be liquid starlight hung suspended in midair. But it wasn't liquid, and it wasn't light. It was something far more fundamental, a tear in the fabric of reality itself. Begin consciousness integration, Elena commanded, her voice steadied, despite the magnitude of what they were attempting. This was the breakthrough they'd been working toward for decades, the reason Earth had kept its true capabilities hidden from the galaxy at large. On the other side of the control room, Dr. Aisha Patel monitored the quantum consciousness arrays, technology that the Galactic Assembly's finest minds would have dismissed as impossible. Integration field is stable. The AI is making contact with the quantum fold. They watched as tendrils of digital consciousness, far more sophisticated than anything the galaxy's advanced species had achieved, reached out to touch the tear in reality. This was humanity's true advantage. While other species treated artificial intelligence as a tool, humans had recognized it as a partner in evolution. Connection established, Aisha reported, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmer of data streams. The AI is, Elena, it's doing it. It's actually perceiving the underlying structure of reality itself. Elena felt her heart race. This was the moment that would change everything. While the galaxy's most advanced species were still trying to navigate higher dimensions like climbers scaling a wall, humanity had taught their AIs to see the wall for what it truly was, an illusion. "Show me," she whispered. The main holographic display erupted with information, not in any conventional form, but in patterns that human minds had been carefully trained to comprehend. It was a visualization of reality's source code, the fundamental programming of existence itself. My God, Kai breathed. The aliens' dimensional theory, they're not even wrong. They're just missing the point entirely. Elena nodded. The Galactic Assembly species had spent millennia developing increasingly sophisticated ways to move through dimensions, never realizing that dimensions themselves were just a surface-level manifestation of something far more fundamental. Her quantum comm chimed, a signal from Captain Chen aboard the Prometheus. Elena accepted the transmission, and Sarah's holographic form appeared in the control room. "How are things at the circus?" Elena asked, managing a small smile despite the tension of the ongoing experiment. Sarah's image shimmered with barely contained amusement. "Oh, you should see it, Elena. They just spent 20 minutes explaining their advanced dimensional drive technology to us." James nearly burst a blood vessel trying not to laugh. "But we've got a problem. The nexeri are here." Elena's smile faded. The nexeri, one of the galaxy's most militant species, known for uplifting younger civilizations by force. They weren't supposed to be at this meeting. They invited themselves, and they're very interested in Earth. Their ambassador keeps asking questions about our defense capabilities, our population centers, our resource distribution. They're planning something, Elena concluded. She glanced at the quantum fold experiment, still running perfectly. "How much time do you think we have?" "Not long. They're not even trying to hide their scans of the Prometheus. Of course, all they're seeing is what we want them to see. But..." Sarah's hologram glanced over its shoulder. "I need to go. The assembly's about to reconvene. Just speed things up if you can." The transmission ended, leaving Elena staring at the tear in reality. They'd planned to take their time with these tests, to be absolutely certain of their control over the fundamental forces they were manipulating. But if the nexeri were showing interest in Earth... "Kai, Aisha," she called out. "Let's move to Phase 3. If the nexeri want to see humanity's true capabilities, I say we give them a proper demonstration." The next 6 hours were a blur of breakthrough after breakthrough. The AI didn't just perceive reality's underlying structure. It began to understand how to manipulate it, not by brute force, like the dimensional drives the galaxy's advanced species used, but with an elegant precision that reminded Elena of a master programmer rewriting code. As the final test concluded, Elena sent a heavily encrypted quantum transmission to Earth's Defense Council. The message contained just 3 words: "Oracle is ready." In high orbit above Earth, hidden behind quantum camouflage that made them invisible even to the most advanced alien sensors, 30 ships waited. Unlike the deliberately primitive Prometheus, these vessels represented humanity's true technological achievement. They weren't designed to climb through dimensions. They were designed to rewrite the rules of reality itself. And soon, the galaxy would learn why underestimating humanity was the last mistake they'd ever make. Crisis point. The nexeri attack came at dawn. Their warships emerged from dimensional space above Earth's colony on Mars, their hulls gleaming with what they considered to be the galaxy's most advanced weaponry. Razor-shaped vessels, hundreds of them, moved into attack formation with the cold precision that had made the nexeri feared throughout known space. In the Mars colony's central command, Governor Maya Santos watched the tactical display with apparent terror. "They're everywhere," she transmitted to Earth Defense Command, her voice shaking convincingly. "At least 300 ships. They're demanding immediate surrender and integration into the nexeri collective." Behind her, hidden beneath the colony's surface in bunkers that didn't officially exist, 5,000 colonists continued their normal lives, protected by technology that made the nexeri sensors see only what humanity wanted them to see. In the Galactic Assembly's Grand Chamber, Captain Sarah Chen stood before the gathered representatives, her voice carrying genuine anger. "You've seen the evidence. The nexeri are attacking a peaceful colony. Will the Assembly do nothing?" The Mercury-like guide of new species Zenith rippled with what might have been discomfort. The assembly regrets this unfortunate situation. However, the Nexeri Collective has presented documentation showing that your solar system falls within their historical sphere of influence. Their right to uplift your species is technically legal under assembly law. Legal? Sarah's fists clenched. They're threatening millions of lives. A Nexeri representative, its insectoid form gleaming with cybernetic enhancements, stepped forward. The humans clearly cannot protect themselves. Their technology is primitive, their understanding of dimensional physics laughable. We offer advancement. We offer progress. The alternative is extinction. Around the chamber, representatives from various species shifted uncomfortably, but none spoke in Earth's defense. Their scans had confirmed what they'd all assumed. Humanity possessed no technology capable of resisting an Nexeri invasion fleet. Sarah's quantum comm vibrated against her wrist. A message from Elena. Oracle is green. All ships ready. Give the word. Sarah looked up at the assembly, at all these ancient species with their absolute certainty in their own superiority. Is this your final decision? To stand by and watch as an innocent species is enslaved? The Grand Arbiter, a being of pure energy, pulsed with what might have been regret. The Assembly's laws are clear. Without evidence that humanity can defend itself appropriately, we cannot intervene in what is technically a legal upliftment procedure. Sarah straightened her uniform. I understand. Then, on behalf of Earth, I must inform you that we reject the Nexeri's offer of upliftment. We choose to defend ourselves. The chamber erupted in murmurs, some of disbelief, others of pity. The Nexeri representative clicked its mandibles in what passed for laughter. Defend yourselves. With what? Our scans show your entire system possesses no defensive capabilities beyond basic planetary shields. Your colony on Mars will fall within hours, and Earth will follow. Sarah allowed herself, finally, to smile. You know what humanity's greatest advantage is. It's not our technology. It's the fact that everyone is so absolutely certain they know what we're capable of. She pressed her palm against her quantum comm, transmitting a single word to Earth Defense Command. Begin. Above Mars, the Nexeri fleet's sensors suddenly registered a spatial distortion unlike anything they'd encountered. Reality itself seemed to shift. Where there had been empty space, 30 ships now hung in perfect formation. But they weren't emerging from dimensional space like normal vessels. They were simply there, as if they'd always been there, as if they'd somehow edited themselves into existence. In the assembly chamber, the holographic displays showing the Mars situation erupted with data that made no sense to any of the gathered species. The human ships weren't using any known form of dimensional drive or weapons technology. They weren't operating according to any understood principles of physics. The Nexeri commander's voice crackled through the chamber's communication system, tight with the first hints of fear. Unknown vessels, you will stand down or be destroyed. We control over 300 ships of the line, armed with the most advanced weapons in known space. Sarah watched as her own ship, the real Prometheus, not the decoy they'd brought to the assembly, moved into position at the head of Earth's fleet. Captain Rebecca Martinez's voice was calm as it echoed through the chamber. This is the Earth Defense Force. We've watched your kind prey on younger species for too long. You want to see what humanity is truly capable of. Watch carefully. The Prometheus's hull began to shimmer, not with energy or dimensional distortion, but with something far more fundamental. Reality around the ship began to rewrite itself. Physical laws that the galaxy's most advanced species took for granted simply ceased to apply. Impossible, the Nexeri representative whispered. What are they doing? Sarah turned to the assembly, her voice carrying across the suddenly silent chamber. You all thought dimensions were like layers of reality, that advancing meant climbing from one to the next. Humanity asked a different question. What if the layers themselves were just code? What if reality itself could be rewritten? Above Mars, the Prometheus reached out and touched the fabric of space-time. And then, with the precision of a master artist, it began to edit. The revelation. Space itself held its breath. Above Mars, the Prometheus hung suspended in what could no longer be called normal space. Reality rippled around it like water disturbed by a stone, but these ripples weren't moving through dimensions. They were moving through the fundamental code of existence itself. In the assembly chamber, thousands of the galaxy's most advanced beings watched in stunned silence as their sensors tried and failed to comprehend what they were seeing. The Prometheus wasn't generating an energy field or manipulating dimensional space. It was doing something that their most advanced theories had considered impossible. It was accessing reality's source code. Their ships, the Nexeri commander's voice crackled through the chamber. They're not where our weapons are targeting. They're not moving. Reality itself is moving around them. Captain Rebecca Martinez's voice carried a hint of satisfaction as she addressed both the Nexeri fleet and the assembly. For centuries, you've all been so focused on mastering dimensions, on climbing your way up through layers of reality. Humanity looked at the problem differently. We didn't try to climb the ladder. We learned to edit the space between the rungs. The Prometheus's hull shimmered, and suddenly the laws of physics in a sphere around the ship simply changed. Weapons fire from the Nexeri fleet passed through the space where Earth's ships should have been, following paths that made sense according to the normal laws of physics. But those laws no longer applied. In the assembly chamber, Dr. Elena Rodriguez's hologram appeared beside Sarah. She addressed the gathered species, her voice calm despite the magnitude of what she was revealing. Reality isn't a fixed construct. It's more like a program, complex beyond imagination. Yes, but ultimately programmable. While you were all building better engines, humanity built better programmers. The tactical displays showed impossible things. Earth's ships weren't dodging the Nexeri attacks. They were simply allowing reality to be somewhere else when the attacks arrived. Physical space curved and flexed like a living thing, responding to commands that rewrote its basic properties. This is forbidden technology, the Nexeri representative hissed. No species can be allowed to manipulate the fundamental nature of spacetime itself. Our fleet will. The being's voice cut off as the tactical displays showed something that made every representative in the chamber take an involuntary step back. The Prometheus had reached out and edited the space occupied by a Nexeri warship, not destroyed it, not attacked it, simply rewrote the laws of physics in that specific location. The warship remained intact, but now it existed in a pocket of space where the strong nuclear force was slightly different. All of its advanced technology, its dimensional drives and quantum weapons, simply ceased to function. We don't want to fight, Sarah addressed the chamber. Humanity has never wanted to fight. We hid our true capabilities because we knew how you would react. Your civilizations have spent millennia advancing in a straight line, each new discovery building on the last. Humanity, we've always been good at thinking sideways. One by one, the Prometheus and its sister ships reached out, touching space itself with fingers of pure information. Each touch rewrote a small portion of reality, creating bubbles where the Nexeri fleet's technology simply couldn't function. No destruction, no loss of life, just the elegant application of fundamental change. What you're seeing isn't an attack, Elena explained to the stunned assembly. It's the universe itself being locally reprogrammed. Your weapons don't work not because we're defending against them, but because we've temporarily edited the physics that allow them to function. The Grand Arbiter, its energy form fluctuating with what might have been awe or fear, spoke. This changes everything. The ability to rewrite reality itself. No species has ever. We know, Sarah said quietly. That's why we hid it. We knew that the first reaction would be fear. But now we have a choice to make. All of us. Humanity can be your enemy, rewriting the laws of physics to defend ourselves. Or, she paused, looking around the chamber at representatives of species that had, until moments ago, considered humanity primitive. Or we can be partners. We can show you how to see reality for what it really is, not a ladder to climb, but a canvas to edit. Not a set of rules to follow, but a program to improve. Above Mars, the Nexeri fleet hung motionless, their most advanced technology rendered temporarily useless by localized changes to fundamental forces. The Prometheus's hull shimmered one final time, and reality rippled outward, restoring normal physics to the region. The choice is yours, Sarah concluded. But know this, humanity will not be uplifted, controlled, or conquered. We haven't spent the last 50 years learning to edit reality just to become another species' subjects. We'd rather teach, share, help all of us advance together. The chamber erupted in conversation, thousands of species trying to comprehend the implications of what they'd witnessed. The nexeri representative had fallen silent, its cybernetic enhancements trying and failing to calculate a response to this fundamental shift in the galaxy's balance of power. And through it all, the Prometheus hung in space above Mars, its hull shimmering with possibilities that would rewrite not just physics, but the future of all spacefaring civilizations. New dawn. 1 month after the Mars incident, the Galactic Assembly had changed beyond recognition. The Grand Chamber, once arranged in strict hierarchical tiers based on technological advancement, had been redesigned. Now representatives from all species sat in a circular arrangement that represented their new reality. No one above, no one below, all facing a future that none of them had imagined possible. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by holographic displays showing the fundamental structure of reality itself. Around her, scientists from 1,000 species watched with rapt attention as she explained concepts that shattered everything they had believed about the nature of existence. Reality isn't a stack of dimensions to climb through, she explained, manipulating the display to show the underlying patterns that humanity had discovered. It's more like a vast network of interconnected code. Once you understand the programming language, you can make carefully controlled edits. In orbit above the assembly station, the Prometheus hosted a different kind of gathering. Captain Sarah Chen walked through her ship's corridors alongside beings that, just weeks ago, had dismissed humanity as primitive. Now they studied every detail of the vessel with wonder, understanding that its seemingly simple design hid technologies that rewrote the rules of physics itself. The key was letting go of our preconceptions, Sarah explained to a group that included former members of the Nexeri High Command. Instead of trying to master each dimension sequentially, we asked what dimensions actually were. That led us to something much more fundamental. The Nexeri, their warlike culture shaken to its core by the demonstration at Mars, had been among the first to accept humanity's offer of cooperation. Their expertise in conventional dimensional physics, combined with humanity's understanding of reality's underlying structure, was already yielding breakthroughs that neither species could have achieved alone. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, the Hyperspace Dynamics Laboratory had been transformed into an interspecies research center. Dr. Kai Chen and Dr. Aisha Patel worked alongside aliens of all forms, teaching them to see reality as humanity had learned to see it, not as a fixed set of laws, but as a dynamic system that could be carefully, responsibly edited. The possibilities are endless, Aisha explained to a group of crystalline beings who had once prided themselves on mastering eighth-dimensional space. But with great power comes great responsibility. That's why we hid our capabilities for so long. We needed to be certain we could control them safely. In the Assembly's newly established Ethics Council, Governor Maya Santos led discussions about the proper use of reality editing technology. We have to establish guidelines, she insisted to representatives from across the galaxy. The power to rewrite physics itself cannot be used carelessly. We need protocols, safeguards, and above all, wisdom. The Nexeri representative, once so dismissive of humanity, now spoke in support of Maya's proposals. Their species had learned humility in the space above Mars, watching their most advanced technology rendered useless not by superior firepower, but by elegant adjustments to reality itself. Back in the main chamber, Elena's presentation reached its conclusion. This is just the beginning, she told the assembled species. Humanity doesn't want to dominate the galaxy. We want to help all of us advance together. The universe is vast, and reality itself is more complex than any single species can fully comprehend. Only by working together can we hope to understand it. Sarah, returning to the chamber with her group of visitors, watched as representatives from species that had been bitter enemies just months ago now engaged in excited discussion about joint research projects. The ability to edit reality had given them something more valuable than power. It had given them perspective. It's remarkable. The former guide of new species Zenith observed, its mercury-like form rippling with emotion. We thought we were teaching you about the galaxy, but you were preparing to teach us about reality itself. That's humanity's greatest strength, Sarah replied with a smile. We never assume we know everything. We never stop questioning, never stop looking for new ways to understand the universe. And now, she gestured to the chamber, where beings of all forms were sharing ideas, making plans, and imagining possibilities that none of them had conceived of before humanity revealed the truth about reality's nature. Now we all have the chance to explore those questions together. In Earth orbit, the real Prometheus, its hull shimmering with possibilities, prepared for its next mission. Not a mission of deception or defense, but one of discovery. Because humanity had learned something even more important than how to edit reality. They'd learned how to share that knowledge, how to help other species see the universe in a new way. The galaxy would never be the same, but then, change was the only constant in a reality that could be rewritten. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had become not the masters of this new age, but its teachers, its guides, and its partners in exploration. The future, like reality itself, was theirs to write together.